Everyone, thoughts
Yes,
and
yes.
ideas about. Okay, just let me know if anything is not clear or if you have any doubts. Let me know on UI policy or data policy. Not only in UI policy and data policy, whatever we covered till now. If you have any small doubt, also let me know. And if when you are doing the assessment, if you got any doubts, let me know. Okay. So just to brief up quickly, UI policies runs on the client side. When I say something runs on the client side, please remember one thing. Just forget about other concepts, but remember, as per service, no, something runs on the client side means it will run only on the form level. Okay, only on the form. Whatever is present on the form, only those things you can access on the form. Just to give a clarity to you, see, for example, okay, UI policy. In the case of UI policy, that's fine. Okay, it will run only on the form level. Also, that field should be present on the form. It's not like that field is not present on the form and you are trying to make it mandatory or read only or visible. It doesn't work like that. Okay, client side means will run on the form and it should be available on the form. Let's say, for example, using client script, let's say this amount paid is not there in the form layout. I went to right click on this configure form layout. I remove this amount paid from the form layout and I try to access that amount paid field. It won't work. I can't using client script. I mean, you don't know what is client script, that's fine, but we'll see in the after two more classes what is client script. But using client script, you want to access this field. If it is not available on the form, you can't access it. But server side is not having that kind of restrictions. Client means strictly whatever is present on the form, only those things you can access. Only on the form it will run. I hope everyone understood this statement what I told. Or if I'm going fast, let me know. Okay. So UI policies runs on the form level because that run on the client side and it is used to make a field mandatory, read-only and visible. But in order to convert a UI policy to data policy, we have three conditions. That is, visible should be leave alone, global should be true, run script should be unchecked. Okay. And data policy runs on the server level, which means everywhere. You'll understand today what do I mean everywhere. Okay. And it is used to make a field mandatory and read-only only. We cannot control the visibility. Please remember this point. But every data policy can be converted into UI policy. I hope this is clear for everyone. Anyone having still any doubts, let me know. Don't hesitate. Is it clear? No.
Clear.
Okay. Chalo then. So today we'll see how to load the data into service. So what happens actually, let's say when you're trying to create a table, okay, you created a table. Why you create a table actually? For what reason you create a table? Anyway. What is the reason you'll create a table? No reason, simply you'll create it like that.
Store the data.
To store the data, exactly. See, there is a purpose of the table. Each and every table will have some purpose, and to store the data, we'll create a table. Okay, the customer is asking you to create a table. Once you create the table, what they'll do, they will give you the data. In which format they'll give you the data? They can give the data in any format. Actually, ServiceNow supports Excel, CSV, XML, also from the integrations like JDBC, HTTP, FTP. But we won't cover that in this training. But majority of the times they'll give you the data. Not majority, 99% of the times the customer will give you the data in the form of Excel sheet only. They will create an Excel, they'll give the data, simple. Okay, they'll create on Excel and they'll give the data. That's what they'll do. So just to explain you quickly, they'll create an Excel like this. Just type Excel. Okay, we have these numbers and all. This is a dummy data created by us, but they'll give the proper data. So you have this Excel. So they'll give these names and all. They'll enter the same names what you are having, number, trainee name, batch, status, active, description, short description, like this. But I'm lazy enough to create this Excel sheet. But normally they'll give you the Excel sheet. So what I'm doing, I'm exporting this Excel. How to export an Excel? Uh, in any service now table, you can export a Excel actually. You should have the proper rights. But how to export the Excel? I mean, I can export all this data in the Excel sheet. How to do that? Right click on any field I'm telling, not the field data, field. Right click on any field here. It doesn't matter whether you right click on number, trainee name, batch. You can right click on any field, or you can click on these three dots when you hover your mouse. Anything which you feel comfortable. You right click on that, you'll get an option export. Export. You want to export this data in the format of Excel, CSV, XML, JSON, PDF, export it. There are a lot of options. Okay, but since I'm lazy enough to create this Excel sheet, I'm exporting the Excel actually. Okay, so that I can directly edit the data there simply. So you can right click on any field. Okay, when you right click on any field, you'll get an option export. It's taking time. When you right click on any of these fields, you'll get an option export. You can export into Excel. The data, whatever data is here in this table, that will be presented in the form of Excel. That's it, nothing else. Okay, I hope this is clear. You guys are not responding again.
Yes,
Yes,
Vijay.
Is
we
it
did.
clear or not? If you respond, then only I'll come to know, right, whether I'm going fast or slow. Yeah. See, but customer won't download. I'm lazy enough to download it. That's why I'm downloading it. But normally customers won't download this. Remember that. They will give you the Excel somehow. Let me delete few fields which are not needed. I don't want data. It's looking big. Okay, I don't want to import this much data. Let's hold on, this one. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. See now, Savish now. Let's see what are the numbers available. The highest number available is SNB004. That's what I can see. Okay. Yeah, the highest number I can see is SNB004. So I'll start entering the numbers for one second. In the Excel sheet for 5, SNB005, 6, and 7. Okay. Now you tell me, if I try to load this data into service now, how many records are there here first?
3.
3 records.
If I try to load this data into service now, what do you think? How many records will be inserted?
6 totally.
Only 6 will be inserted. What? I didn't get you
Yes,
guys.
yes. 4 plus 3, 7.
No, I really didn't get you. What is 4 here?
3 records only.
In the field.
No, no, no. Just forget about this count. That's fine. Okay, okay. I understood what you mean. Oh, you are telling 6 plus 3, 9. Huh?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
exactly.
No, I'm not. They are already inserted. No, 6 records are already inserted. Forget about that. Okay. In our service now, 6 records are already there. You leave it. Now I'm trying to insert these 3 records. How many records will be inserted if I try to insert these 3 records?
3 only.
Good. Any other answers? Let's do one thing. Let's try to insert this first record. Okay.
One record.
Let's try to insert this first record. Any other answers, guys? Someone saying something?
We made short description mandatory.
Okay. Yeah. Good catch. So let's try to insert the first record. Let's try to see. Imagine this is a 5. Okay. I'll name it as 5 for you. You don't find it. I'm using some different tool. Okay. This is SNB005. Let's give the trainee name as able tutor. The batch is 21 to 25. Of course, it is fine. Active should be true. Let's see. Active is true. Yeah, active is true. Status is training started. Status is training started. Anything else we have? I think that's it. Let's try to save it. Will it save?
No.
No,
No.
because of short
For
description, man.
description are
And
mandatory.
Short
mandatory.
description and description are mandatory. Okay. But here, okay, we also have the short description. Will it insert now?
No.
Okay, in the form it won't insert, but let's say if I was not inserting these records from the form level, will it insert this record? This is UI policy mandatory. Description is UI policy mandatory. Short description is data policy mandatory. Okay, I'm telling you, there is no form involved. We won't be present in the form when you are inserting this record. So will it insert or not?
Yes, we can insert.
It will insert.
It will insert actually. Okay. Since what I told you yesterday, UI policy will run only on the form level, right? So in this case, description is mandatory using UI policy, guys. So it really doesn't matter whether you give UI policy, whether you give the data in the description or not. Okay, because it will be mandatory only when you present on the form. That's it. But to load this data, I have a data in the Excel sheet and I need to load this data into this service node table. So when I'm loading this data into this no batches table, I won't be present in the form. If you are not present in the form, this description is not mandatory. Okay, but short description is not like that because it's mandatory using data policy, right? It's mandatory using data policy. Whether you are in the form or not, it doesn't matter for this. Okay, it won't allow you to insert. Now you guys understood. Now you tell me, if I try to load these 3 records, how many records will be inserted?
One. Only one.
One record only. Yes. So when someone asks you, okay, this kind of question, you need to tell them like, if it is UI policy mandatory, definitely it will override because you are not present in the form when you are loading this data. UI policy mandatory means you should be present on the form. So let's do one thing. Let's do some. Let me do something. See. Now you pay attention to the data. If I try to load this data, tell me which records will insert. Like you can tell the 567, okay, SNB 00567. Which records will be inserted in this case? How
Five
many
and
records?
6. 5 and 6.
Why 5 and 6? Why not 7?
Short description is empty here.
Mandatory, and we are leaving it. In 6 also we have a description mandatory, no?
But the description is mandatory
Mandatory
only
using
in the
UI
UI
policy.
policy side.
Using an interface.
But everyone understood that, right? So yeah.
Yes, please.
Now let's try to load this data into service now. So before I load this data into service now, let me wantedly change these numbers, these names. What happens few times, they won't give you the same naming convention as available in our service now. They may change the naming convention. Okay, and you can change it manually. But let's say what happens if you don't give the same naming convention. Let's see that. Okay, now this SNO should be SNO is nothing but what here we should map this SNO to. So SNO data, whatever is there in this SNO data, SNO field should be transferred to this number field, and whatever data is there in the student should be transferred to this Shiny name. Okay, I hope this is clear. No.
Yes, Vijay, clear.
Okay. So I wantedly done this. I'll tell you why I wantedly done this, because we have a concept known as transform map. At that time, you'll understand. I'll tell you how to load this data into service now. There are 2 steps involved in this. There are 2 steps. Please pay attention. There are 2 steps involved to load this data into service. What are the 2 steps? The first step is we have you can't directly load the data into service now from the Excel. Of course, you can do, but if you want to perform any validations when you're doing, you can't do that. So what we are going to do, please pay attention. Whatever data is present in this Excel sheet, I'm really sorry. Whatever data is present in the Excel sheet, first we will transfer this data into a temporary table in service. Okay, we'll create a temporary table in service now. We'll create a temporary table in service now, and we'll load this data, whatever data is there here in the Excel sheet. We'll create all these fields in the temporary table like SNO, student, batch, status, active, description, and short description. We'll create all these fields in the temporary table. We will create in the sense not manually, it will automatically create it. Don't worry. In the temporary table, we'll create all these fields. Then we load all this data. I'm really sorry, guys. Just give me 1 minute. Huh? Just give me 1 minute. I'm not. Throat is not. Yeah. So what we are going to do? We are going to create a temporary table in service now. Okay. One table we'll create, and we'll create all these fields in the table, and we'll transfer all this data SNB 5, 6, 7, all this data, whatever is present, into the temporary table. That is the first step we are going to do. Okay, is the first step clear for everyone? No.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Vijay.
Yeah. The second step would be, once the data got loaded into the temporary table, once the fields and data got loaded into the temporary table, we will transfer the data from that temporary table to our target table. What is our target table? Snow batches table. Clear? No.
Yes, Vijay.
Yes, Vijay.
Okay, let me just show you how it will work. I think yesterday I shared you an docs
Notes.
for the, yeah, some notes kind of thing. In that this image will be available, if I'm not sure, if I'm not wrong. Just let me see that. So this is how it will work. Let me just open this image. Okay. Now we have the data in the form of Excel. Okay, this is Excel. This is the Excel sheet. Now we have the data in this form of Excel sheet. Okay, this Excel. We are going to load it into a temporary table. I see. I'm telling it as a temporary table, but in ServiceNow terminology, they'll call it in three ways. They'll call it as import set table. They might call it as a staging table. They might also call it as a source table. So it depends. So don't confuse. So that's the reason I gave. First, you have an Excel sheet. This Excel sheet data will be transferred to a table. You'll create a table and you will transfer this data and the fields into this table. And once the data got transferred into this table, once the data got loaded into this table, the temporary table, then using a concept known as transform map, we will transfer the data from this table to our target table, that is in service no table. Incident, in this case, no batches table. Is it clear? So Excel sheet, we have the data in the Excel sheet. We will load it into the source table. I mean, we'll load it into a table. We'll create a table and we'll load this data and the fields, whatever are present in the Excel sheet, to the table. Then we will transfer the data from that table to our target table, that is no batches table. Clear, everyone? No.
Yes, Vijay.
Yeah, you're able to visualize this, right? Okay. Now let's see how to do that. So normally, how do you create a table? Anyone? How do we create a table?
Click on
Go back
new.
to the filter navigation menu and go to the tables.
Click on Snow batch.
Tables. Then
Under system
Go
definition.
to system definition tables.
System definition tables.
very good.
New.
We'll click on new, right? But that's fine. That's fine. But in order to in order to load the data into ServiceNow, we won't create a table like that. It will automatically create. What you need to do to load, first we'll focus on the first step. The first step is, like we discussed, there is an Excel sheet, and whatever data and the fields are available in this Excel sheet, we need to create a table in ServiceNow, and we need to load this data, whatever data is there in this Excel sheet, we need to load the data into that table. That is the first step we are going to do. So for that, what you need to do, there are different ways again to do this. Okay, there are multiple ways to do this, but follow one way. Type load data in the filter navigator. Load space data. Type load data in the filter navigator. Under system import sets menu, you'll get load data. Okay. Type load data. In order to load the data, whatever data is there in the Excel sheet, in order to load this data into a table, type load data in the filter navigator. Clear, everyone? No.
Yes, Vijay.
Under system import sets, please click on load data. You'll be redirected to this page. Yeah. So you can use the existing table or you can create a new table. Since we don't have an existing table to load the data, let's create a new table. From the second time you do this activity, you can use the existing table. But for the first time, you need to use you need to create a table. Let me create a table known as snow batch data import. Okay, I'm creating a table. You just give the label, name will be automatically taken by the system, but it won't create a module here. Like normally, if you see when I type snow batches, I told you snow batches, child batches, create new, training started, training in progress are known as modules, and service snow batches is the menu. So snow batches is a module. It won't create a module like this, like snow batch data import. It won't create. Okay, out of the box, it won't create. Okay, then how do you go to this table? Anyone? If it won't create a module, I told you in the beginning classes, how can you go to the table?
View underscore
The
snow
URL
underscore
we have
batch.
to tell what list.
Table name dot what?
List.
What?
list list.
List.
LIS.
List.
Okay, list. Okay, table name dot LIS. It will redirect you to that list view of the table. Okay. Okay, list view of the table. So you can create a table. Just give the label and name. That's it. And you need to choose the Excel sheet here. Choose file and you need to select this Excel sheet which is present in your system. Okay. You give the label, name will be automatically created. You choose the Excel sheet. That's it. Go to downloads. I stored the Excel sheet here. You just give the label, name will be automatically created. When you click on submit, what happens? It will automatically create this table. You don't need to do anything. Whatever data is there in this Excel sheet, it will automatically create the data in the table with the fields. How it will create, I'll tell you. Okay. So in this case, you see sheet number. Okay. You attach the Excel sheet here. We attach the Excel sheet here, and we are telling sheet number and header row. So in this Excel sheet, this is sheet 1, this is sheet 2, this is sheet 3, this is sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. Even though it's showing as sheet 1, it is sheet 2. Okay. In which sheet my data is there? In this Excel sheet.
Sheet 1.
Sheet 1. Whatever Excel sheet you have attached here, okay, in that Excel, in which sheet my data is there? Sheet 1. You need to give it as sheet 1. Okay. Clear?
Yes, Vijay.
And header row. Header row is nothing but in this Excel sheet, in which row your fields are there. Fields. In which row? Row is this. This is one. Okay, this is a row and this is a column. If anyone don't know, please understand this is a row and this is a column. Okay. So in this first row, my fields are there. So I'm giving the header row as one. Clear?
Yes, Vijay.
Okay. So what happens when I click on submit? Okay, it is identifying in which sheet my data is there. In this Excel sheet, what I have attached, in this Excel sheet, what this person has attached, in that which sheet our data is there. In the sheet 1, our data is there. In that sheet 1, in which row our fields are there. In the first row our fields are there. The moment you click on submit, you no need to do anything. There are some background scripts written in the service now. So there are some scripts written in the service now in the back end. Okay. The moment you click on submit, it will automatically create this table. You don't need to create this table with this label and with this name, and it will create the fields automatically from the header row 1 into the table, and it will load the data automatically. Okay, let me click on submit. I'm clicking on submit. When you click on submit, see, it processed 3 and it inserted 3. The data load completed actually. Where the data load completed into the temporary table. We created a table known as snow batch data import. Okay. So the first step is completed here, guys. What is the first step I told you? This Excel sheet data, we need to load it into a table, not to the target table, snow batches table. We'll create a table. That table name is snow batch data import, and into that snow batch data import, what we are doing, whatever data we are having in this Excel sheet, we are loading it. In order to check the data, you can go to loaded data. You see, next steps, loaded data. You can click on loaded data. When you click on loaded data, it will redirect you to this snow batch data import. It will redirect you to this snow batch data import. Okay. Now if I open each and every record, let's say 1, 2, 3, these 3 records, see it created all the fields in this table: active, short description, SNO, batch, description, student, status, and the data also loaded SNB005. Whatever data is there in the Excel sheet got loaded into into that fields automatically. The same applies for 6, the same applies for 7. Is the first step clear, everyone, or any doubts here?
Uh, Vijay, if
Yeah.
I want to insert, two sheets data. Shall I need to do the same procedure twice or like?
You have to do it twice, or you need to merge that two sheets because you can't give more than one sheet number. So I have that similar requirement once. I need to load the 1,80,000 records, but ServiceNow can't handle that much data at once. So what we used to do, I used to segregate the data into two sheets, maybe 80,000 data at once, or 90,000 data at once, and 90,000 another 70,000. I mean 90,000 data at another time. I used to keep it in two sheets, but you need to do it in you need to run it two times. But if the data is less, you can segregate. You can combine both the sheets into one sheet. Okay. Is it clear?
Yeah, Vijay, it's clear.
So the first step is clear, everyone. Any doubts here?
No, Vijay.
Because in real time it will take so much time, guys. You're thinking like this, but 1 lakh data means it's not a joke. It will take, in case if there are a lot of validations, or else it won't take that much time. So again, I'm telling you, the first step is to load the data. Whatever data you have in the Excel sheet, you need to load it into the a temporary table. Okay, we'll call it as source table from now. Type load data in the filter navigator. Again, I'm repeating, guys. Under system imports, let's go to load data. Give the table name, create a table for the first time, give the table name. Name will be automatically picked. You can choose the Excel sheet here. Okay. In that Excel sheet, in which sheet your data is there, in which header in which row your fields are there. That's it. Okay. But you can give only one sheet number here. You can't give more than one sheet number here. Click on submit. When you click on submit, you will be redirected to this page. The data will be loaded into the table and you will be redirected to this, this page. What is the second step? The second step is to transfer the data, whatever is present in this table, to our target table, that is snow batches table. From snow batches data import table to snow batches table. That is the second step, right? Yes, no.
Yes,
Yes,
Vijay.
For that concept is known as transform map. That concept is known as transform map. Okay, transferring, what this transform map will do, it will transfer the data from the source table to the target table. In this case, source table is nothing but the temporary table that we created, to the target table, that is our snow batches table. So let's click on create transform map in the second step. So now we entered into the second step. Here you can see in the source table field automatically taken the table name, our table name, our temporary table name, snow batch data import. Okay, so it already taken that table name. Just give the name, it's mandatory field name. I'm giving the same name as snow batch data import. You need to give the target table. This is source table. Source table is nothing but where our Excel sheet data is stored. Okay, this is clear, right, everyone?
yes,
Yes,
Vijay.
Vijay.
Now we need to give the target table. What is our target table, guys?
Snow
Snow
batches.
batches.
Just give me the snow patches. So now what we need to do, we need to map the fields, because if you pay attention in this Excel sheet, I didn't given all the fields, right? See, we have other fields also here. I didn't given all the fields here. If you pay attention, I given SNO student, I mean number, trainee name, batch, status, active description, short description. But there are other fields also: amount paid, start date, company, highest qualification, state, city. There are a lot of other fields. I didn't given all the fields. So you need to tell how system will identify this field should go, and this field should map with that field. I mean the source table field should map with that table field. It don't know. It doesn't know. Okay. You need to tell to the system. You need to map the fields. How to map the fields? You need to save the form. See, in the UI policy and in the data policy, once you save the form only, you'll see some additional options, right? To make a field mandatory, read-only, and visible.
Yes, Vijay.
Here also, you need to save the form to see the additional options to map the fields. Let's save the form. When I save the form will be little enlarged again. Here also, you can see field maps. So there are two types of mapping, guys. One is auto mapping and the other one is mapping assist. What this auto mapping will do, please pay attention here. What this auto mapping will do, if the field names are similar, if the field names are same in the source table and target table, it will automatically map the fields. So in this case, can you tell me which fields are similar in the source table and the target table? Do you guys understood what I'm saying?
Batch.
Batch, status,
Status.
description, short description.
Description, short list.
Active also. Okay, these four fields are same in the source table and the target table also. Okay, so the moment I click on auto mapping matching fields, it will automatically map. I no need to do anything. If the fields are same in the source table and the target table, it will automatically map. You no need to map them manually. Let me click on this auto map matching fields. So the moment I click on it, if I scroll down here, see, this is source table fields, this is source field, this is target field. Source field means it is coming from snow batch data import. Target field means it is coming from target table. So we mapped 5 fields: status, short description, description, active batch. But if you pay attention, it didn't find this SN or student in the target table. So that's the reason it didn't map it. So for these things, we need to map them manually. How to map them manually? We have mapping assist. Auto mapping will map the fields automatically. This is clear, right?
Yes, yes.
Let's go to mapping assist then to map it manually. So these are the source table fields, no batch data import. This is target table fields. Okay. These are automatically mapped. We no need to worry. Now we need to map the fields manually. Which fields we need to map? SNO to number, student to trainee name. So let's do SNO first. Serial number, SNO. To which field I need to map this?
Number.
Do you guys? Yeah, I find number. Okay. Now student to
Training.
Training name.
trainee. Let's save it. Clear? No.
Yes, Vijay.
Now the last step you need to do, that is click on transform. That's it. The last step is clicking on transform. Okay, again I'm telling you, in the second step, you need to click on create transform map. You need to give the name. It's mandatory. You can give any name, but it should make some sense. Source table will be automatically picked. Source table is nothing but our temporary table where we have where we have loaded the data from the Excel sheet to the source table. And the next thing is you need to give the target table. From this table to which table you are transferring the data. So that table. Then there are 2 types of mapping: auto mapping and mapping assist. Auto mapping will map the fields automatically if the fields are similar in the source table and the target table. If the fields are not same in the source table and target table, you need to go with mapping assist. Okay. Now to transfer the data, you need to click on transform. You can see how many records are there here. 6 records. Okay, just remember the count. Let's click on transform now. You'll be redirected to this page. Just click on transform again. Then the transform got completed. You can go to transform history to see how many records got loaded and all. You see it completed, but it completed with errors. Total there are 3 records, but out of that, how many records got inserted? 2.
2.
1 record got an error. What is that error? You need to open this transform history. You can check what is that error. Let's see what is that error. What is that error it is telling? Data policy exception. The following fields are mandatory. Short description. In the second row.
Yes.
Second row means this one it refers. Sorry. It should not refer second row.
It is 0, 1, 2, right? So that means
Maybe it's correct. You are correct. Man. Yes, 0 1. Yes. Good catch. 0 1. Yes. Second row. So if I go here, refresh the page, you'll expect 2 records actually. I mean 8. So I can do created Z2A to get the recently created records. That is 6 and 5. These 2 records got loaded from import sets table. So in this case, description is mandatory, but I am not giving the description. In this case, I was also giving description. We are not involved in the form if you pay attention here. So that's why it loaded the data. But in this case, the data policy is mandatory. So short description is mandatory via data policy. So it really doesn't matter whether you present on the form or not. It won't allow you. Okay. Is this concept clear, everyone?
Yes, yes.
Is it? Anyway, we'll do one more exercise though. So because there are other things I need to tell you. Okay, so again I'm repeating, guys, what we are doing, instead of loading this Excel sheet directly into ServiceNow, we are creating a table in ServiceNow first. Then we are loading all this data into the table with the fields also. Then we are transferring the data from that table to this table, Snow batches. Okay, clear everyone? So
Yes,
in
Vijay.
order to do that, there are two steps involved. First step is to load this data into the table. So for that, you need to type load data in the filter navigator. Under system import search, please go to load data. Open this. Create a table for the first time only. Next time you don't create a table. You can use the existing table, that is no batch data import. Okay, choose your Excel sheet. Give the sheet number in which sheet your data is there, header row. Click on submit. Okay, it will load the data into the table. Then the next thing is transform map. Okay, if you want to do any changes in the transform map, okay, second time, you don't need to create a transform map because it's already created. Type transform maps in the filter navigator. Type transform maps in the filter navigator. When you type transform maps, under system import sets, you go to transform maps. Under system import sets, please go to transform maps. This whole concept is known as import sets. That's why. In this transform maps, we have a transform map created, that is no batch data import. You can go to this transform map. This is the transform map that we created, if you remember. Here only you can do the changes. You don't need to do the changes in the again in the later time. Okay, clear? No.
Yes,
Yes,
Vijay.
now let's do one more exercise, but this time what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this data. Let's say description, I'm making it as updated by sets. Okay, if I try to load this data, tell me how many records will be inserted this time.
3.
Three records will be inserted. Very good. Yes, three records will be inserted. But I need a. I need this. Someone please go on mute. Yeah. But if the what is the unique field here, guys? Which field can't be duplicated here? I mean, which field data cannot be duplicated here? What do you think?
Number. Serial
Number.
number.
Yes, because I can give the same student name again. I can give the same batch. You can see 21, 25. I can give the same status. I can give the same active. I can give the same description. I can give the same short description. But number, we are making it as unique. Of course, you can also give the same number. That's different. But what I'm trying to tell you here, let's say if this number is already existing, if I try to load this data again in ServiceNow, out of these three records, number, how many records are already existing in our target table? Two records, 5 and 6, right? 7 is not there. So what I'm trying to say, if I try to load this data again, since 5 and 6 is already available in ServiceNow, it should update the records instead of creating the records. Okay.
Yes.
Since fifth SNB 005 and SNB 006, these two records are already existing in ServiceNow. It should update the record rather than inserting a record. Okay, you can see what is the update it is doing. Description. For SNB 005, the description is UI policy. So it should update to updated by import set. For SNB 006, the description is empty. So it should update from empty to updated by import set. And since this is not there, SNB 007 is not there, it can create. So what I'm trying to tell you here, if this field already exists, if this data already exists, SNB 005 already exists in ServiceNow, in Snow Batches table, it should update the record rather than creating a new record. If the field doesn't exist, sorry, if the field doesn't exist, if the field data doesn't exist, it should create a record. So in this case, 5 and 6 are already existing, so it should update rather than creating. 7 is not existing, it can create. Everyone understood the scenario? No.
Yes, Vijay,
Yes,
understood.
Vijay.
Yeah, it's clear, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So for that, what we need to do? So if I don't do anything, if we do the same procedure, what we followed now, it will simply create duplicate records. Again, if I try to load this data, it will automatically create again 5, 6, 7 also. Even though the number exists here, it will create. So what we need to do in order to make that uniqueness, like update the fields rather than update the records rather than creating a records. So like we discussed, in this number is unique. Go to transform map. Go to transform map. Transform map. Open the existing transform map that is linked to this staging table. I mean source table. Open the existing transform map. In this transform map, we have an attribute, I mean field known as coalesce. Coalesce. It might be an interview question. Please remember what this coalesce will do. This coalesce, for which field you need to make it true. In this case, number. SNO number. I need to make this coalesce to true. So what happens if you make this coalesce to true? What will happen actually? Let's see how it will work actually. I'll tell you. We make this coalesce. You need to make this coalesce true for a unique field. Unique field. So if I make this coalesce to true for this field, number field, what happens? So it will go here. When it is loading the data into service now, it will go to the source table. It will find this number because we are making coalesce to the number field. It will copy this number. It will go to the target table. It will search with this number. Do you find a record with this number or no? Do you find it?
Yes.
Yes. So it will update the record. What is the update you're doing? Description is changing from UI policy to updated by import sets. Okay, it will update this record. Once this record is completed, again it will go to the next record. In the next record also we made the collage to true for the number only. Okay, so it will find this number. Do you find the record with SNB006? Yes. So it will update the record with the description updated by import set. Again, it will go to the next record. Again, it will find this record. Do you find any record with this number?
No.
No, we don't find any record with this number. So create the record instead of updating it. So that's how this coalesce will work. Coalesce is a unique field. It will check if the data exists. If the data exists in the target table, whatever data is present in the source field, in this case SNO, that is existing, is matching with the target field. If you find a record, it will update the record, or else it will create a new record. Clear? No.
Yes, Vijay. Clear.
Now let's try to load the data. Now let's try to load the data again. This time, can you tell me how many? Again, I'm asking this question: how many records will be inserted if I try to load this data?
One will be get updated. One will get created and two will update it.
Very good. Yes. This 7 will be inserted and other 2 will be updated. Let's see. So you can see the total is 8. Let's try to load the data. How to load the data? Only first time you will create a table and transform map base. Second time you don't do that. I'll tell you what we need to do in the second time. Type load data. Okay, under system import sets. This whole concept is known as import sets because you are importing the data into service now. Type load data. You give the, instead of going to create table, go to the existing table. You already created a table in the previous scenario. You no need to create it every time. So use the existing table, choose the Excel sheet. Let's do one thing. Just I need to be in a hurry now. Wait. Okay. Now we'll go to load data. We'll choose the existing table because you already created a table. Choose the Excel sheet that is available. That is this Excel sheet. I think I saved it right. Yeah, let's choose the Excel sheet again. Choose this Excel sheet. What is the sheet number now? 2.
Two.
On the header row, 3.
3.
Give the sheet number as 2, header row as 3. Okay, it won't create the fields again. It's already present. Okay, already present. If you give any new field, then it will create. Click on submit. That's it. It will load the data into the table, into that snow batch data import table. Okay. Process 3, inserts 3. You can go to loaded data. You can see six records, but I was loading 3 records only because you have an ISET number created. Every time you load the data, for the first time it created ISET 1, 0, 1, 2. For the second time, every time you load the data, it will create an ISET number actually. So I can do show matching on ISET 2. So this is the data 0. So you can see 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it created the data. So every time you load the data, each and every time you load the data into this table, it will create an ISET number. How this ISET number is coming and all, it will extend a table. Like how we are for the child batches, how we make the snow batches as a parent table. There is a table known as import set row, if I'm not wrong. That table will be the parent table for this table. So from that table, you are getting this set and all other fields actually. Okay, but you can ignore that as of now. But if you want it in detail, I'll explain you on Monday, not today, because I'm running out of the time. And the next thing is, next step you need to do is you don't need to create a transform map because it already created. Yeah, we have already created the transform map. All you need to do is just click on run transform. Okay. Getting? No. Hello.
Yes,
Yes, Vijay.
You have already done that. Just click on run transform. We made the collage true in the transform map. Just click on transform. Only for the first time you'll do all those things. For the next time, it's done. No need to do all these things. You can go to transform history. Total there are 3. This time there are no errors. 1 insert, 2 updates. Okay. No errors. If I go here, refresh the page, I'll see 9 records and these 2 will be updated. These 2 descriptions will be updated with updated by import checks. And this got created. 7 got created. These 2 got updated. Clear? Using
Yes, Vijay.
collage, we are doing this. Okay. Any doubts, anyone here? So still there is something which I need to tell you here because there is something known as choice action and all. Maybe we can continue it on Monday. Those things we can continue it on Monday. But anyone having any doubts here?
Now Vijay clear.
Okay. So in that case, okay, then thank you all. If you have any doubts, you can reach out to me on Monday. There won't be any class tomorrow. Okay. Let's catch up then on Monday. If you have any questions, you can also ping me. Okay. Also try to do the assessment, guys. Okay.
Okay, Vijay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vijay.
You can leave the
Thanks,
call.
Vijay.
Yes. Can you all leave the call?